Hello and welcome back to the Cheltenham Festival head-to-head series with myself and Dan overall. A little bit of a quieter week this week, not too much to talk about before we get into the tips, but there was two fairly impressive performances this weekend. I'd like to push you guys towards a video I made the other day to hear my views, but we've got Dan on the show, so I might as well get his view and see if he agrees with me. Firstly, Dan, how are you doing? You all good?
I'm okay, mate. West Ham top four again, so that's positive. Bad news is that Janadil isn't entered in the Coral Cup, so that one goes down the drain as a non-runner, no-bet one. So money back, but annoying. I honestly don't know what's worse, my tips or my hair at the moment, and it's neither's good, to be honest.
It's a short-lived Ante-post dream, that one. But, I mean, you made a very compelling case.
I was so keen on it. Oh, well, we live and we move.
So the champion hurdle market was really shaken up this weekend with the performance from Goshen. What was your take on the performance? Have you bought into the hype?
Very impressive visually at the time. Obviously, I think a few things in retrospect need to be taken into account. Firstly, Song for Someone never went a yard for that race. I think pushed along pretty much after the second. He was ridden differently to how he has done, perhaps because they knew the pace was going to be strong, but he was held off it around a sharp track. That was never going to see him to best effect. I think he generally prefers better ground as well, from what I can tell. So I think you take it with a pinch of salt. It's great to see Goshen back. It basically was like he was doing in the juvenile hurdles before the Triumph, and even indeed during the Triumph. So he adds another interesting dimension to that champion hurdle. And for the race perspective, I think it's great. And we're going to see plenty of lively debate around him. But obviously, he was cut to quite a short price, and I wouldn't be backing him at the moment. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a bit bigger, as a lot of people seem to be quite keen to take him on.
I was going to say, I hope you don't get the abuse that I've been receiving for saying pretty much the same thing. It's not a very pleasant place to be. One thing I'd like to comment on, which I don't think enough has been made about, was that Goshen was actually getting £6 from Song for Someone this weekend. And when he goes to Cheltenham, where he's facing the mares, who are his the two horses who actually have a very, very good chance in the champion hurdle, he'll be obviously having to give them £7. That's a huge weight swing, and I just don't think he's going to be up to it. I think he's still got a lot to prove at this point. And as you say, I think it's about 9-2, maybe 5-1. I think that's an awfully short price. The other performance from the weekend was Champ for Nicky Henderson. Was this a masterstroke? I know I was definitely a doubter going into the race. 2 miles. He was, a staying on 3 miler in the RSA last year. Well, he's been cut. He's 13-2 from 12-1. What's your chances with him going to the Gold Cup? Well,
it was great, wasn't it?
It was
absolutely great. I couldn't quite believe it, but I think they made the exact right decision in going forward and just making him get into a rhythm early. Hanging him out the back probably would have jumped quite poorly, I imagine, over that pace, but it was really fun to watch, and I wish sometimes we get more of this. Sometimes we have these trips, horses going back in trip or up in trip, and we see interesting clashes. I mean, Champ versus So Royale is not something I thought I would see when this season started, especially with So Royale going over hurdles earlier in the year. But yeah, really good stuff. And the thing with Gold Cups is you generally want light campaigns these days, and see one start over 2 miles doesn't really get much lighter than that. Like, if you were going to be nitpicky, you'd say if only it was a week or two before, and it would probably be the ideal preparation. But yeah, great to see. I can see why he's been cut, and he's probably the second favourite. He arguably deserves to be there. The RSA win under his belt and that preparation. I still have mild preference for Aplutar at the moment. I just think he's the younger emerging horse overstaying trips. But yeah, all credit to Nick Henderson. It worked well, and it might really prove genius at the end of the season.
I was going to say, for anyone who didn't watch my video earlier on the week, I was very, I sort of praised Henrietta Knight, because I watched about the RSA, and Champ, with every single fence that he jumped, he was losing ground on them. But with this, he was keeping up with 2 milers, and his jumping was actually exceptional. She did say that these really good horses, they can be versatile and they can run over the trips. I think. Who's the trainer of I Right? Can you remind me?
Harriet Graham.
Harriet Graham said the same thing about I Right. He ran over 2 miles at the start of the season. In no way should he be finishing second or third in the Ladbrokes Trophy, wherever he finished. So a really impressive performance. Goes into the Gold Cup with a live chance, providing he doesn't bounce. We all both gave you 2 handicappers last week. This one actually sort of annoys me a little bit, because I stuck up Champagne Platinum, and I was fairly confident that I was fairly confident in him, and he went and obviously qualified with a fantastic ride from James Bowen. If he could have got stuck behind a horse, he did the whole way through, and then he charged home late. He's 25-1 into 9-1. Hopefully, some of you guys took that. But yeah, this week I wanted to give you an each way double, and what I've gone for is Bravemansgame in the Ballymore. I'm quite keen to take on Gellard de Menil, as I thought he would have had a tough race over in Ireland, and I don't think he's going to have the speed for this race. Bob Ollinger, I'd be more cautious of him, but the only thing, and it might not be his fault at all, is he's only ever been ridden, only ever gone on soft and heavy ground. And I think with the forecast we've currently got, we're going to be looking at quite a quick ground Cheltenham. So I would be more keen to take on Bravemansgame. I think he's proven it on genuine good ground. And also he has that speed as well that I think you need in the Ballymore. With the Supreme, it's going to be flat out from the start. With the Ballymore, they go a more even pace and it's quicken from there. And obviously he ran over 2 miles at the start of the season, was beaten by Soaring Glory. So that form's taken a boost this weekend. And the other one, which I'm sure you'll have opinion on, Dan, is I think Santini in the Gold Cup has become a very backable price at 14-1.
Get in the bin. You've just seen Champ and you're back in the other Henderson one.
Of course. This horse has been
8 places, are you?
Well, I mean, he placed in the race last year, and you could argue that
terrible race.
You could argue that the race wasn't run to suit. I think he's been trained with one race in mind. He has cracking course form, 1-3-2-1-2. I think the ground drying is also a positive. He ran on heavy ground at Sandown and he really looked to hate it. He stays all day, and I really do think he's a rock solid chance. I do believe that they've obviously only trained him for one race in mind. Hence, they didn't send him to the King George thinking he had a great chance. They sent him there just to get runs under him. He's going to peak. He's going to peak for the festival, I'm sure of it. And he's proven it, and he loves the festival. Spring ground, I think he's ideal. Go on, feel free to slate me.
You're just wrong on every account, really.
That's an 80-1 double for you. So there we go.
You could get 80-1 on Santini. I wouldn't take it. Jeez. Oh no. No, can't be having him at all.
It all started quite well with Bravemansgame. You had nothing to say, but
No, I prefer Bob Bollinger over Bravemansgame as well. But I could be less permissive about Bravemansgame as opposed to Santini. Jesus.
The two handicappers you stuck up last week. 2 horses of handicaps. Are they? We've been sort of leaked some entries. So are they both going to their races?
They're both entered. Lieutenant Rocco's in the Ultima, and is proving popular now. His entry's confirmed. Like 147, he looks well handicapped off that. I'm still not convinced they'll go to it personally. That Nick Mitchell seemed quite keen afterwards to go down novice route, potentially go for the Brown Advisory. He's only a 6-year-old. There's plenty ahead of him. I'd say they'll probably go for those graded races, but he'd be very interesting in a handicap off that mark. And to be honest, I think I'm of the opinion that he'll end up in the Hennessy next season. I think that's probably the route they'll go with him. And Bundoran's in the Grand Annual. Good to see. It's got to be the race for him as opposed to the Champion Chase. He's one. I'm not going to touch until way close to the time you get some decent place terms around, and hopefully he's 40 or 50-1. I think he'd be a decent each way bet then, but not before.
Do you have an each way double plan for us at all, Dan?
Yeah, you sprung this one on to me late, and given that most of my selections are always big each way prices, I was like a bit caught off guard. But I'll go over Willie Mullins double for novice hurdles. I'll go with Hookup in the mares and Statler in the Albert Bartlett. I can see them both going off favourite. I don't know what price double it would be at the moment. Honestly, it would be a fairly decent one, but to my mind, they should both be favourite. They'll both go off shorter, and I can see them going very close.
All right, brilliant. So that's going to wrap up just our little preview talk. We'll get straight into the selections this week, absolutely flying through them. I'll let you go first this week, Dan.
Oh, thank you, mate. So, yeah, this was a weird one. So I had a horse in mind. I had Happy Go Lucky for the Ultima in mind near enough all week, as soon as Kim Bailey kind of confirmed that was the route they're going, and he is indeed entered there. Like, they seemed quite keen to go National Hunt Chase earlier in the season, but I've had a late change of heart for a couple of reasons. One, because I've already got outright in the race. I was prepared to have 2, but Lieutenant Rocco's inclusion is kind of put me off as well, because I have it between them 3, and at the moment I just want horses in other races at this stage. I might go for Happy Go Lucky later on, but Yeah, I had a late change, and the race I ended up looking at was the plate, or the Paddy Power plate as it's known, because it looks so weak. Like the majority of those ahead of the market aren't going. I think I made it from the entries. 11 of the 16 priced lower than 20 to 1 aren't even entered. So that market's going to change drastically in the coming days. So my decision was between Farclas, who I can see the argument for, but his price literally in the last few hours has been decimated. Like he went from about 16s into 12s and 9 to 1 general. So the one I've actually ended up siding with is Conflated, who is actually 18 to 1 currently. It's almost double the price of what Farclas is currently. And to me, he's the more exciting option. Like Farclas, yeah, he did win a Triumph hurdle, but I think he's going to get punished for that when the weights come out. Obviously, I think he'll get maybe a £6-7 rise, and I'm not convinced he's necessarily up to winning off that kind of revised mark. Whereas Conflated kind of fits the trend of recent winners of this race in recent years. So firstly, he's a novice, and novices have won the last 4. And he hasn't actually run at a previous festival, and normally that's a negative. But the last 6 winners of the plate have all been making their festival debut. So perhaps it's somewhat of a positive in this race. So he had 4 starts over fences thus far. He made a decent debut behind Darva Star over an inadequate trip. And then he chased home Styrian Phalange next time out. And for all that Styrian Phalange has proven to be a bit of a rogue one this season, on his day he's a very smart horse. And there's no shame in finishing behind him. And then he went on to bolt up by 17 lengths on his 3rd run over fences, with the 3rd, 4th, and 6th of all won subsequently. So it looks like decent form. And the big getaway was actually the horse in 3rd that day. And while he did get quite tired late on, the pair kind of jawed for a long way. And I think you still have to be a decent horse to live with the big getaway as he did. So it seems decent form. It was 2 seconds quicker than the handicap chase on the same card. And Conflated was carrying 2 stone more than the winner of that handicap chase. So that steps up quite well. And he was stepped up to 3 miles next time in Grade 1 company, next time out in the Neville Hotels novice chase. He was beaten 60 lengths in 3rd, but he shaped better than that, in my opinion. He went the inside route all the way around where the ground was worse. If you look at the race back, Monkfish and latest exhibition generally stayed wide, which clearly the better ground seemed to be there. And while he still ran well to a point, he did tire late on, but I just don't think he stayed the 3-mile trip. So I'm prepared to put a line through that and mark it up slightly. And then he was due to run in the flow gas, but what was quite concerning was he missed it with Kolick. That was the reason for his absence. But Gordon Elliott has since reported that he's well, and this race is looking like the likely target. So Kolick can be a serious thing. It can be fairly minor. It can go quite quickly, and thankfully it seems to be the latter in this case. So looking at Gordon Elliott and Gigginstown, they wouldn't really have too many runners in this race. Both have only had 4 in the last 5 renewals. But Gordon Elliott won it with the Storyteller in 2018. Gigginstown won it with Empire of Dirt and Road to Respect in 2016 and 2017, respectively. So they do quite well from limited representation. And he was quite highly tried as a novice hurdler. He ran in the Grade 2, he ran in a couple of Grade 1s as well. But he looks all over a chaser to me. He's a big stamp of a horse. And off his current mark, 144 in Ireland, you can expect him to go up a few pounds to maybe 147, 148 once the revised marks come out, which is kind of bang in the weight range of winners of this race anyway. And just the way he is, the way he's been progressing, I hope he could still be a better horse than that mark. This is going to be his trip. This intermediate trip looks bang on. He fits a lot of the good trends. And given how this race is going to cut up and cut up badly, I think this is quite a poor handicap. I can see him being single figures on the day, given his connections and his decent runs in novice company so far. So 18 to 1, I'm more than willing to take that chance on him.
Is that non-runner no bet, or is that?
It isn't. No, you can get 14 to 1 non-runner no bet, but in this case, because it's been listed as the likely race, it was in the Racing Post article that was released recently. Said this should be his target. I'm happy to take the 4 points bigger in this case. If you want to be safe, 14 to 1 is available in multiple places. Non-runner no bet when I last checked.
Okay. Well, my selection this week. I'm actually going to double down on. No, I'm not going to double down on Epatante, although I'd absolutely love to.
2 points win.
7 to 2 on Epatante is a stonking
Is she
price.
really?
She is 7 to 2. In some firms, actually, I think she's 3 to 1 with William Hill. Oh,
Yes.
Goshen's really torn that market apart. It's silly. Goshen's actually shorter than Epatante in some cases. But yeah, if you fancy the mares, go in again now. 7-2, 3-1, back and both. Fill your boots. I think that's a really, really good bet. My actual bet's actually going to come from the National Hunt Chase. And it's going to be Galvin at 4-1. I actually think this is a really good price about him. I was looking through the horses below him. So the 5 below him in the market, you've got Royal Pagaille, Latest Exhibition, Cocoa Beach, Next Destination, and Ascaria 10. And they're either not go to Cheltenham or have other targets. I could see him shortening drastically when you take them out because next in the market is 16-1. This has been the plan all season. Gordon's got loads of experience into him at the start of the season on good ground because that's what this horse needs. He picked up 4 wins. They've put him away, so he's been kept fresh away from this tacky dead ground. He's got loads of jumping experience as a second season novice, and I also think he's got a bit of class about him. He's got very good form at Cheltenham. He was 6th in the Ballymore ground he would have hated. I think that was the year that City Island won. And then he was 2nd in the 2.5 miler, the Northern Trust Handicap behind Imperial Aura last year. And now he's going for the Ryanair and has a very good chance at fairly short odds. Now, I'm not sure on what jockeys can go to Cheltenham. I'm not sure if that's been confirmed. This race is normally a race for apprentices. And given it's Gordon Elliott, I can see no reason why Jamie Codd wouldn't be riding. And that is the man you want on board for this race. He's the winning most jockey in the race. And Gordon's won this 3 out of the last 6 years. There's plenty to like about him. And with the field cutting up, I think 4-1 is the price to take now.
Yeah. Now, you know what? The one short one I agree with you most on. I think earlier we don't know what episode it was, but we were asked about who we think the weakest favourites at this stage were. And I gave Galvin his mine just because at the time it seemed like there was going to be a host of decent novices that are going to turn up here. Obviously, the likes of Cocoa Beach, I think they're going Irish National with him. Latest Exhibition still might go here. There's a chance, not sure though. Next Destination won't. And yeah, as you say, there's a few that look like they're going to go elsewhere. Ascaria 10 still might come here. They're still
split between 2.
The Ultima. Yeah, this and the Ultima are their decision. But I mean, the Irish don't tend to go for the Ultima, but I guess they might be forced into if they don't want to take on Galvin. But yeah, you know what? I don't hate that one, but I would be, which is a rare statement for me to say about any of yours. But I'm not sure if Jamie Codd will ride. I think there's still going to be a lot of late-minute decisions around amateur jockeys. So you probably, you're not exactly going to be sad with Jack Kennedy riding.
Exactly.
It's something to bear in mind if the amateur angle is what you're focusing on. But yeah, I'm a bit disappointed really because that race I thought it was going to be so good.
At one point, I do remember that really well. We thought everyone's going to avoid Monkfish. Everyone's going to go to that 4 miler. That 4 miler is going to look really strong. But no, some horses are standing their ground, and obviously some trainers are thinking we might as well just keep them over here. We got Fairy House and we got Punchestown, and we could even go to Aintree as well. So plenty of other big targets later down the line. But yeah, Galvin 4-1, snapped that up today, definitely. All right. It's probably a shorter episode. I haven't looked at the time, but I think it's a shorter episode than recent weeks, but I do hope you guys enjoyed it. That was week 8. So week 9 next week. We're flying away, 3 weeks away from Cheltenham. All very exciting stuff. All right. We'll catch you next week.